Been an agent for 12 years. Been in the top 10% of our board for the last 7 of those 12 years.
Okay, awesome. And you actually joined, love it. So you are a part of, who's that liar, that terrible guy? Who's on the
John Mangus?
Oh, John Mangus, yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I'm a part of his team.
You're a part of his office.
I am, so make sure you catch his program tomorrow, obviously.
Okay.
But yeah, 1 year ago, I had switched companies. I was with a large independent broker. John had been wooing me for about 6 or 7 years, and finally got to be a point where it made sense to make the switch over.
Yep.
So, and then 2 days later, I was out of Connecticut.
So you basically, you moved over with John, and then 2 days after you moved companies, you came to the Advance last year in Connecticut.
Yes. We had a great bus ride.
Yeah?
Fantastic old Polar Express.
Okay.
Which was fantastic.
All right, awesome, awesome. And that was, and we'll talk about it today, but that was good for you. That was like a...
It was eye-opening.
Okay.
It was really, really incredible. 2 days in Connecticut.
Awesome.
Learned a lot, and it's changed our business.
All right, so we'll talk about some of that. All right, next up.
Hi folks, I'm Thomas.
You're gonna let him take over the mic? Did I really just see that?
It's my sister.
I'm Lisa Chan. Like you said, that's Thomas Che. We're brother and sister team in the Fort Lauderdale area.
We're actually with Remax House of Real Estate.
That's right.
And we're going on 7 years in the business. And it was probably, we were at the Advance last year. And it was probably about 4 or 5 months before that Advance, we knew that we were looking and searching for something more in our business. We were looking for more than just being agents, or if you will, Jay was saying earlier, like customer service reps. We were looking for more, we just didn't know what it was. So we started searching, looking online, and that's when we found the virtual tour.
Virtual coaching.
Virtual coaching.
Virtual tour, yes, that's right. Virtual tour, good job.
So we started with the virtual
I lure them in with my home, that's what yeah.
And interesting enough, we had our first session with his mother, talked to us on the phone. Jerry's mom called us, said, oh, you're going to love this. And then we sort of
Every great line starts with that, doesn't it? Jerry's mom.
And then we went to the first Advance, we were excited. We knew we wanted more, and we thought going on, we got into the coaching program, and we've just seen some amazing changes in our lives. And it's just exciting. We're excited to be here.
That's awesome. I'm excited to have you. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, everybody who's up here, like, I'm not even kidding, except for maybe one. I'm just kidding. They're, like, amazing, like, fun, amazing people. Like, if you get a chance throughout or tonight, 5:30 at the networking thing and such, like, go talk to these people. They're not only a great source of wisdom and source of knowledge, they're so much fun, which I love. I think those should go together, right? And we know, like, a top producer in your area, and they're just a prick, like... It used to come with the territory. Like every top producer I knew growing up was just like, just terrible, you know? Just drink that down. These guys are not like that, okay? So let's move it over.
I'm Kelly Weber. I work for Keller Williams. I've been a realtor for 12 years. I met Jared at an event in Atlantic City, or the Atlantic City area.
Wow,
and
that was,
it was a long time ago. It was about 4 years ago.
I was 17.
And I sat there.
I wasn't even supposed to be there. If you act like you belong, they let you in.
I sat there and I listened to him. I felt like he was speaking to me out of a room full of people like you. I got up and I got his book. I was with my broker at the time. And I drove home with him, and the next day I went in and resigned.
Your broker, I just want to clear that up.
Yes, I drove home with my broker.
Make that very clear, drove home with a broker.
I drove home with my broker, and I went in the next day, and I read the book that night, went in the next day and resigned, and went over to another company, started the virtual coaching program, and last year at the Advance, I was so taken by the one-on-one coaching, that my business partner and I joined the coaching program.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that my business has turned around.
That's awesome. I'm just saying, you got a hand in reading. You gotta step it up. I'm just saying. Okay.
I'm Bridget Martin. I'm with Heritage Texas Properties in Houston. I've been licensed almost 9 years. And I actually met Jared. It's kind of a funny story. I had won an award. I don't even know if you remember this, 20 Under 40 award. And I was literally, he was speaking at it, and I was literally about to quit real estate because I hated it so much.
I'm actually hearing this story for the first time right now.
And it was because I was trying to do everything on my own, and I was too cheap to hire an assistant. And it was literally, he was speaking at the award that I was receiving, and you know, it was supposed to be this wonderful realtor that I hated my job. And he said, if you're working, would you work for $12 an hour? And I'm thinking, no. And he's like, well, then why are you? I'm like, okay, now I got it. So ever since then, yeah, I've been, that was almost 2 or 3 years ago, and top producer in my office, have the systems in place thanks to Jared. Still in the coaching program as well, and absolutely love it.
But today's an anniversary as well, right?
Yes, that's funny that you mentioned that.
I just saw that on the break. Yeah.
So I'm 35, and up until literally 2 years ago today, it showed up on my little time hop thing that you get on social media. I joined Twitter because solely Jared.
And by the way, if you're not on Twitter, you should now join because of Bridget.
Get on
because
Twitter.
Are any of you connected with Bridget on social media? I mean, how much fun is she on social media? I mean, right? Like, am I okay?
Well, but before that, I was not on social media at all. Because I have like kind of quirky sense of humor. I love JJ Watt. Like, I am all about Magic Mike.
She doesn't love JJ Watt, guys. It's borderline, like, yeah.
Stalkerish, maybe.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I don't want to, my clients don't need to see that. I'm dealing with luxury high-end properties. Jared said, well, the majority of your clients are repeat and referrals, so they obviously like you. Why are you hiding that? And I thought, yeah, really. And I never really understood even the strategic standpoint from it where, okay, if somebody likes my post, then their friends see it. And there's just, I mean, we can get on to the Facebook ads and all of that, but just even the organic personal page, I probably have tons from. So.
The only thing that separates you need DNA.
Yeah.
I can't stand realtors that act like realtors, right?
Yes.
What did you say?
Yeah.
We were sitting in lunch, and I love it. We were sitting in lunch, and he says, somebody said,
I was told, yeah.
What's it?
You're the best non-realtor there is.
Yeah, and someone said to you, they said, I hate realtors. They said to him when he showed up to do something, tell us.
I hate realtors.
Maybe cut out the end that we shared in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
But you, what did you say? You were going to meet somebody or something, and they said like.
I was showing a condo to a client of mine. It's his new partner, and he's in the elevator. We're going up, and he says to me, "I just hate realtors."
What'd you say?
I said, "I hate realtors too." I had a little preview though that he's in the landscaping business. And I said, "You know, I'm with you. I can't stand landscapers." Yeah,
That's Tom's
we just had lunch.
personality.
Anyways, yeah, it's all about having fun, guys.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, is unique DNA. It's the only thing that separates you. Like. The reason why 89% of people are saying they use you again and they 11% are is because they're like, well, you're a door opener, you're all a dime a dozen, you all act the same, you all whatever. Stop trying to hide who you are. You know, the thing that connects you with, Crazy Joe, your uncle, whatever, is that he's Crazy Joe uncle. He tells crazy jokes, he tells whatever. Be who you are. Would you rather be a fraud and gain a small percentage, or would you rather be who you are and gain a more loyal following? This is what I do. I mean, I've said a lot of things up here that are probably not in the speaker's manual. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that they are. I talked about a crocodile eating you, for God's sakes. I didn't learn that, okay? I'd like to undo that if I could. But you know what? That's what makes me me. Like, when you talk to me afterwards at the networking thing, it's who I am. It probably drives my wife nuts. It's who I am. That's what I do. So some of you are going to leave here and go, I hate that guy. Maybe not here because this is the Jared James event, but in a general event, some people are leaving, I hate that guy, or whatever. But a certain percentage are going to be like, oh, I'm not missing anything that guy does. Love that guy. That's what you want, and that's what these people have in common, what we're going to talk about over the next however much time. All right? So, let's get right into it. Do you have anything to add? I saw you guys put the mics up, no? Okay, jump in if you need to. So, let's talk about it. What is it? Because you all have been in a position where it's like, okay, am I going to make it? Am I not going to make it? Am I going to, whatever. What was the thing for you that kind of did it? We can go down the line, or you guys can jump in. What did it for you? What was the thing that just kind of went, okay, there it is, and you started doing, and it started creating results? What is it? Because again, like I said earlier, no phone booth, no Superman capes, no. What real world happened that you were like, all right, that makes sense. I'm going to do that. This worked. What is it? Okay, do it.
When I got the assistant, like I said, at the 20 Under 40 award, I was strictly a one-man show. I had no one helping me. It was insane. I'm getting this award and I'm literally about to quit. And when Jared made the comment of, would you work for $12 an hour? And I'm thinking, no. And he says, well, then why are you? And the minute I started putting people into place. And it took a while, don't get me wrong, I went through several to get to where I am now, 2 years later. But now I have 2 people, an in-house just strictly paperwork, fielding phone calls person, and then basically a buyer's agent. That, because I was dealing with the day-to-day stuff, and I remember Jared talking about one time, you know, your business is up and down, you say, oh, I'm slammed, and then the next month you have nothing. Well, it's because I'm constantly dealing with the fires of everybody under contract.
It's a responsive business.
Yes.
It is, you're always responding, and then you form, and then you grow that muscle,
Yes.
and now that muscle is always you're always going to respond.
Exactly.
Right?
And I knew, based on the business plan, I needed 2 appointments basically every single day, based on my ratios, in order to make the amount of money that I wanted to make. But in order to go on those appointments, I needed help. And that for me was a game changer, huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
But was it scary? I mean, was it like...
It was scary, it was...
What about, forget about even from a financial perspective. Let's talk about from the perspective of your personality. I'm assuming when we sit here and we say DNA, it's what attracts people to you.
Right.
Now they're not always dealing with you. Was that scary for you? I mean, let's be
Not at
real.
first,
Like,
because
yeah.
I think I was a little naive, thinking that that wasn't going to be a problem, but I quickly learned it's a huge problem. At least it was for me. I dealt with a major learning curve because most of my business was repeat and referral, so it's people who had worked with me, and if someone was referring me business, they thought I would be showing them the 20 houses in a day. And I quickly learned, okay, I need to set the expectation up front and be proactive and not reactive. And it took some time to
Some people
learn.
probably still work there.
They still, yeah.
So sorry, some people that no matter what you do, no, you're the person.
Right. And depending on who they are, you know, if it's my mom, I'm going to show my mom. You know, I mean, there's just certain things I will do. And I did lose one person, and she was a friend way back from high school and college and the whole 9 yards, and she felt like she was small peanuts, and I didn't have to.
I was going to say, tell the line you told me when she said, what do you think you're some, what
do you think, you know, you're better than me, or you're better than my business,
some
and
big shot,
you're some big shot, and, you know, you don't appreciate my business, or something, you know, to that effect. And that was one of those things where I was like, okay, I need to learn how to set the expectation, because obviously that's where I'm failing with this, and it was a huge learning curve.
But at the same time, like when she said that to me, what I thought in my head when she said it, I can't remember if I said this to you or not, when somebody says that to you, they are not showing you how big you are, they're showing you how small they are. Okay? Like that's really what's happened, is that they have a certain expectation, there's something called certainty, right? When you don't have certainty, that's when you get nervous. That's when I don't want that, because over here I'm certain. When I deal with her, I'm certain what I'm going to get. When I used to be able to call the office and get Jared, I know Jared's going to take care of it, I'm certain. The truth is, they'll move on to somebody else if you train them to do it as soon as they gain certainty with that person. They don't really just need her. What they need to know is that they're going to get what they need in a timely manner, and that it's going to be responsive, and it's going to be competent, and it's going to be whatever. So it's a retraining model, because up until now they've been trained to be certain about her right here. But what you find when you start to grow and you start putting people in different places is there's a bit of a growing pain that happens, but if you do it right and you hire right, they're actually not going to want you, because you're so busy doing other things, they're going to have to wait on you. People call me, or they'll come up and talk to me and say, where's Rachel? They go, where's Rachel? Can I just talk to Rachel? Because they know that if they go there, they're going to get what they need. If they go to me, I'm going to be like, we retrained them. Certainty is all people are looking for.
I agree. And that's where I'm at now, and I've trained them almost, you know, the best way I've learned to spin it is, especially in our market, it's, if you don't go see a house that day, the chances of you literally losing that house, pretty much 100%. And so in order to give my clients the best service, I have someone available to show you, because the minute a house comes on the market, because everybody's so
does it better than you
savvy.
can.
Yeah.
That's their only job.
They're a door opener. Get in the house. What do you care?
Yeah.
You know, I'll negotiate it with some of them, depending on who it is. But yeah, I mean, it's just setting the precedence.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. All right, what about you guys? Well, what's been like the thing? What was the thing that was just like, all right, this helped me, this took me over, this, what's been, whatever?
The biggest thing was we knew that we needed a change, major change, and what was the catalyst for that, going back to what we were talking about before, just doing we'd get online and we would be looking for different things, looking
You
at
guys,
different
you guys actually
speakers.
found me online,
Found me online.
right?
So
Okay.
we were searching. It's like
Yeah.
we knew the business was good, but it's like it could be better, it could be more structured, it could be more systematic.
Yeah.
I was using word system and everything, I didn't even know they were out there. I was just basically
Yeah.
begging for something, and we were doing a lot of searching online, and
YouTube
saw
or
that.
what? YouTube or something? Or what?
YouTube. I saw YouTube.
Yeah, he found you first, and I remember him showing me, because he picked through a lot. He was so ecstatic, and
So ecstatic.
he shared it with me, and we watched like a video or two of you, and then we were on the phone with you, you know, video first, and then
And
Well,
then we
what?
did a
How did
conference.
we get on the phone? What was
to
the?
set up the one-on-one
Set up the
coaching,
one-on-one
That's right,
coaching.
yeah, the-
which is amazing.
Gotcha.
The video, and we were like, let's
Amazing.
do one-on-one coaching, so we
Yeah.
started the coaching a couple months before the first advance.
I remember, now I remember, so I talked to you guys, I instantly loved you guys.
It
And I
was
like,
mind-blowing, mind-blowing.
Then we went to the annual advance, and all the systems that they were talking about,
Yeah.
things that Jared's been alluding to all day today, we just jumped in. We were a sponge that's just hungry for something to plug into.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the systems
And
work.
then you guys went to Mastermind,
And
you
we went
guys
to
went to,
Mastermind,
like, you guys, yeah.
And a lot of things, I mean, there were a lot of changes that were made, everything was not in line.
Like what? What does that mean? I want to get specific with that. Like I want to like.
We
'cause I know
changed our
I'm
whole
not saying-
website, we got
I
our
want to just hear.
CRM,
If you do it, I get whatever. What'd
from
you do?
A to Z,
Like,
everything.
Give me a
When we
few
first
examples.
started-
What sucked and you
When we
changed?
first started with our coach, the first week, we had just finished paying for a brand
Really
new website.
expensive.
An expensive website in our mind, and we thought it was great, we were excited, we got on the phone, we were like, what do you think of our website?
All
We're like,
excited.
And he goes, it's a piece of crap, go ahead and scrap it.
He said it looks like an
He goes,
expensive business card.
It's an expensive business
Yeah.
card. He goes, you need a call to action website. And at the time, I remember, I don't know what all this verbiage means, so I was like, call to
Yeah.
action.
You're like, I made a mistake. I
Yeah.
don't be in this anymore.
Yeah.
And so we started with the website, and then from there, we just, all the systems were laid out, but it was a lot at first, but we said, we know that we need to change, and we just started implementing every single system that we possibly could once we learned these
From a
systems.
lead follow-up perspective, from a listing, like,
We started,
and one of them asked the question, he's like, what is one of the #1 tools you have to have as a top producing agent, you know, whatever it is. And I'm thinking, like, is this really happening right now? And then, this is what I'm thinking as I'm watching this video.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm like, is this really happening right now? Like, are we about to delete our first post from somebody we know in the Facebook group? And then he walks over to the one tool they need, and it's like a 6 blender, you know.
That's the Margaritaville 3000.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't know I was up here with Tip the Toolman Taylor. And so it's got like 6 blenders on it with this like booze over here and whatever. And it was like, that was his personality. Like that's him. You know what I mean? And that just kind of shows you what he...
So we've done a couple different ones, and we usually, like the goofier ones are more like, I do try to promote like local charities. So we come up with some type of goofy twist on it. So this past year for my birthday, which is February 1st, was also Super Bowl. Well, we also got 12 inches of snow in Toledo, so everybody was locked in. So the first thing I did was I turned on every single landing page ad that I had on Facebook and cranked everything up because I knew everybody was on Facebook.
By the way, everybody just hear that? I want to make that very clear, because that's called strategic. Almost said strategically. Oh my God. So, the only thing worse is mentioning afterwards that you almost said it. So, but look at the strategy that just happened there. So there was 12 inches of snow,
12 inches
and you
of snow.
went, what does everybody do when there's 12 inches of snow?
Mhm.
Do they go for a run? No.
Nope.
They go inside and they're all on their computers. What's like the #1 or #2 site they're going to go on? And so you did what?
So what I did was, so somebody, people were saying happy birthday to me, and then somebody said, you know what, you should go out and make a snow angel. So
Sounds like you needed some convincing.
well, exactly. So I'm like, I'm going to take it one step further, and so I recorded myself doing a snow angel, and then I challenged everybody to go out and do a snow angel, and then I was going to donate it to one of our local charities. It's called the Victory Center. So I did, I did $5 for every actual snow angel, and then $1 for every light.
Oh, so what does that matter? They didn't say I want to list my house. Why does that matter?
Well,
I'm playing stupid, but I'm just saying.
Well, it gets your name out there, and then I did boost it for $50. So I did a one-day boost for $50, and it went out to about like I think 25 or 30,000 people.
And what do people think when 69% of people are unrepresented? 7 out of 10 if they were to buy or sell tomorrow have no idea who they'd use. And now it comes time to pick a realtor. You think they like the person who went out there, showed his personality, got in the snow, and said, I'll give $5 to everybody who does this. Now he's connecting with them. You know what he didn't do? Hey guys, on this cold day, how's your heater working? You want to sell your house? You want to You know, like that is where most of your minds would go. You know, oh, your heat's not working well, better get rid of that clunker. Like, you know, like this is how most people would think. And yet he got on there and said, you know what, I'm going to come from a different direction and I'm going to say $5 is going to go to this charity. And the whole time, what's being promoted? He's a realtor. He's a person. He's having fun. We have to think like this. Love that.
So, and then we, I think it was about $350 that I actually donated to the charity. So that tells you that, so it was about 20 people actually posted actual videos and pictures. And there was some crazy ones that, you know, 2 kids went out in their underwear and did snow angels. So,
yeah, sure.
I didn't suggest it, obviously.
It's 2 kids, I'm sure. Yeah.
But then, so that also means that was about like 200 other people liked the ad. So, and that's really where it's at.
How many people like the ad?
200.
Now, by the way, if you just did that and you stopped, not much of a, you've got to be consistent. You've got to keep it going. You've got to, okay? Because then you start creating a brand. Brand awareness is what it's all about. It's what you think about when it comes time in your area. It's catching people at the right moment, right? At the moment they're thinking, hey, what about that person? Because they're not going to come think of you. You've got to be in front of them at the right moment. You can't just keep posting in front of them, look goodbye. Like you have to do different things like that. I love that. Awesome.
So we started doing that. We also really kind of put together kind of a strategy for this year. So the piece of the strategy was building a team.
Yep.
So I did have a licensed assistant.
So last year, okay, so last year though, from the perspective of a team.
Right. So I had one assistant who was licensed last year. We were just kind of muddling through a little bit. You know, she did a lot of the listing activities and a little bit of the marketing stuff, and I also showed some houses.
Okay.
But this year we've so she's actually increased her productivity like tenfold, which
Okay.
is fantastic. I just hired another buyer's agent, so he's starting in a couple weeks.
Okay.
We did hire an ISA, which is in-house.
Okay.
Because I like the idea of having somebody, you know, at the office,
Yep.
you know, face-to-face, and it, you know, definitely builds some good.
So basically what happens is, so I know that you do a lot of Facebook marketing and other things to create leads and that kind of stuff. And so what you're doing is from a structural standpoint, you're saying, okay, I'm going to create these leads because we know it's going to work because you don't pay anything if they don't click. So you're creating leads. Like that's not even, leads aren't difficult to create now. But now you're saying, okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this person who's going to be the person that sets up appointments, calls right away, does the whole thing, but they're a part of your team.
Right.
And then you hire the people now who will go out and show these properties and do those things and whatever. So you set up like a whole system of how that's going to work.
Right. So I basically, we took over an office in John's office, put in some cubes. We bought a voice over IP phone system,
Okay.
so we can get the apps right from our phones.
Which is where it's at right now. I mean,
So
if you're not using VoIP, I mean,
Right. It's pretty crazy technology, and the girls really like it because it's easy to get to.
do you guys understand that? I just want to make sure I just realized. Do you guys all use VoIP, VoIP?
No.
So phone systems now? I mean, it's not this anymore. Sorry, it's been a long day, guys. So VoIP is basically the idea that everything is virtual. So you can put it exactly where you want it to ring. All your voicemails come right into your cell phone or your email. You can have it transferred wherever you want it. It's not a yellow phone on the wall, I guess is what I'm saying, right? Like, we use VoIP.
Right.
Like even for our company, with the number of calls and everything else, we use VoIP because everything is so controllable as far as what we can do. It's the way to do it now, especially when you talk about from the perspective of lead follow-up and those things. You can have it come in on your phone with different rings when it comes from this number, so you know that it's a lead. You can have whatever, you know. If somebody calls you can't stand, you can put Darth Vader music on. Like, you know, I was with 2 people recently, and one of them called from across the room, and it rang, and the ring that came through was so awkward. You could tell he hated the guy, and it was just this awkward, nothing you need to know about.
So then we did I partnered up with a photographer to take care of all the photography for us.
What does it mean you partnered up?
It's actually one of my clients. They bought a couple houses with me, and when I first sold the first house, she wanted to do the photography. So as I started going through, like trying to find things to take on my schedule that were not money makers and were basically just sucking the time out of my day, just to take pictures, you know, and buy the equipment and edit them. And
By the way, I want to make a real good point. Most of you in here work very similar hours. Do you understand that? Most of you in here have very different incomes. Do you think that's an accident? The correlation is not between how many hours you're working. that has nothing to do with it. We have been programmed to think you work from here to here and that's what you do. We feel lazy if we're done with what we're supposed to do and then we're just going and doing something for a few hours or doing whatever, and we've got to get over that. It's okay to go rest. If you're doing your job right, sometimes your job is done at 11 a.m. and there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's gonna, anyone who does judge you, they're not, who cares? Go screw, but whatever, like, who are you? Whatever. I don't mean like that, I meant like screw off. I was supposed to be screw off, I just want to throw that out there. Yeah. You guys didn't hear that? Okay. But my point is that we're buying into this like from this time to that time, and if that were true, why are you all making different incomes? You know, it doesn't make sense. It's all about what are those best uses, how much time am I going to put towards that, then you can scale that or pull that back, and it's going to be in direct correlation to how much money you're going to make. But there was never this rule, because you're not paid by the hour. We kind of have to get over that mindset that I work here to here, and even if this isn't a good thing, I've got the time, so I'll do it. No, it's not how it works. That's a bad habit to start, because you will always find the time to do those things, right? What was it Rachel said to me yesterday or the day before? They were coming down to do something, and I said, I'll be down at that time, I'm just going to come back, whatever. And she's like, no, come down at that time, because you're going to start looking at all these things and whatever, like, you don't even think about that, don't come down, whatever. Because that's how my mind is, you can't allow yourself to fall into that. It's okay to break and relax, right? Reprogram, anyway.
And then last person I hired was my mom. I hired my mom as my sign lady. So she goes out and does open house signs and flyers and signs.
Sign lady. I thought he really moved up and now he had sign language on every listing appointment. This guy's going on a lot of appointments, he's bringing a sign lady. So I gotta step it up, I've got no sign lady here, I gotta say.
It's hard to...
Yeah, can we get on that? Can we... We'll have interpreters tomorrow? Well, yeah.
But even that is, it saves me a few hours a week, between flyers and, signage and stuff like that.
Yep.
And even just, a few hours a week can be, a few more phone calls or just personal time.
Yeah. And I was going to say, so you're taking something off your plate that is not worth the hour or the amount of money you're going to make in those hours. And so again, the deciding factor is not, do I have the time? Right? Oh, time freed up, so I guess I'll go do that. That is not the deciding factor. I would rather, do you know why I'm able to go on the road? Because they handle everything. So when I'm on the road, it's not like, oh my God, guys, someone pick up the slack for me. It's like, they're handling the stuff anyway, and I don't feel bad about that, okay? And so from a real estate perspective, if you're really running this like a business, and like an entrepreneur, like we'll talk about tomorrow, that's the goal. There's no shame in that. That is the goal. Is that you are you're basically replacing yourself in every area of your business so that you can make more business happen, highest, best use of time, and God forbid, actually relax a little. That would be fine. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, do you or is it a good idea to follow up on those people that like you, like private message them on Facebook?
I love that. Okay, so he said, I'm just wondering if it's a good idea to private message those people who have liked your stuff. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of like what I teach in regards to that. So for example, let's take a more clear example. I don't know that on something on like a snow angel thing that I would necessarily be asking them anything about a house. Okay, like it's just not appropriate if you ask me. It's brand awareness, right? It's not appropriate. But for things like we talked about earlier with our listings package, where you're putting things out like an open house, or you're putting things out like that, right? And somebody likes it, the fact that they liked it means there's some kind of interest in that. Either they know somebody or they themselves. There's absolutely nothing wrong. What's so beautiful about Facebook is if they like it, you click on your likes and it lists all the people who like. You can go click on their profile. When you go click on their profile, you can now send them a message, okay? Now, if you go to send them a message and you have 0 mutual friends, it's going to give you the option to pay $1 to guarantee delivery into their inbox. And all you're going to do is you're going to, see, most of you don't know this, and you're going to follow them, just say, hey, I saw you like so-and-so, were there any questions that you had? I would love to talk to you. You're going to follow up in that manner. But these things, like the fact that I just said that, and I can tell by the audience that most of you have never even heard of that, this is how you get ahead. This is how you do the things that the rest of your area is not doing. Click on it. There's the list. by the way, this training is on our marketing dashboard. Click on the list, there it is, here's the people. There's no better use of time at that point. These are people, and here's the key thing I want you to understand, and this is my whole focus with these guys. I'm going to say this in a nice way. Guys, I'm a super nice guy over here, I swear, okay? But I don't care about your current business, right? My whole thing is, how do we get you stuff that you never would have had? So those likes, those comments, those tags when they tag other people because they're interested in that house or they should be going to that open house or whatever it may be, that is business that you never would have had, ever. And so it's not like you're unsolicited. This isn't the no-call list. They interacted somehow on that page. Hey, I saw you did that. Was there anything you needed? Did you need any information? You know, whatever it is. That 2 seconds, most of the time you're going to find you actually have mutual friends. Because it's crazy. And by the way, why didn't I think of this? That's actually what you're supposed to do too. I don't know why I missed that. When you see the mutual friends you have, I actually, before I write to them, would go to one of those mutual friends that I know well, not just that I have on Facebook, but I know well, and I'd say, hey, how do you know so-and-so? And then when I wrote them the message, I'd say, hey, turns out our kids both went to Mrs. Thompson in 2nd grade. Saw that you liked whatever. Why am I doing that? Because now they feel bad if they don't respond because they might run into me in the school district, okay? You gotta work this stuff. Or, because some of you, I see your faces going, I don't think I can do that. Or you can sit back and have no chance at all. Your choice, right? That's called chess. Do you see the difference between that and checkers? Somebody's sitting there going, unless somebody writes, how do I get into this house? I really need a realtor. Could you bring the paperwork for a contract? I am not doing anything. Good luck waiting for that one. Another person sees a like, goes and looks at mutual friends, contacts that person and says, well, how do you know them? What's the whatever? You find out the commonality you have. You send them a message, you pay $1. Well, now you have a mutual friend, you don't have to pay the $1. You send them the message to talk, what are you making? What is it? Is it the accountability? Is it she said you do this? Is it that you have to make this many calls? Is it like what specifically are people in this audience doing right now that you were doing that you had like a come to Jesus moment and went, oops?
Well, out of everything, I'm going to say it's lead generating.
Okay.
You know, my business was based on referrals, as was Linda's. And once we got on the phone with Donna, she's like, well, you need to make, 10 calls or 20 calls a day, 5 days a week. If you could do 7 days, that's great. When we talk again, I want to know how those calls went. And we talk again, well, how many of those calls did you make? Well, we have this much business, and we went on this listing appointment. We weren't making the call.
And I love it. By the way, you see what she did? So she didn't answer the question.
Yeah, I ignored
And
it.
from a coaching perspective, right? It's like almost as bad as when someone answers you with a question when you ask a question, because they don't have an answer. So from a coaching perspective, for you thought it was acceptable that you had fallen into some business. That's the point I want you guys to understand. You thought it was acceptable that, like, I didn't do what you said, but... And the coach's job was to say, that is the worst thing that can happen to you. Because now you think that that was your fault, or that you did that. Because just like you had nothing to do, it's going to be just like as much as there's nothing next week. You didn't create that.
Correct.
So what happens on that call?
Well, she held us accountable, and I don't like talking on the phone. I don't want somebody to hang up on me. So I went one step further. We went one step further, and I said, well, I'd rather have somebody slam a door in my face than hang up on me because it's harder for somebody to slam a door in your face. So we started door knocking. With our open houses, we'd go out the week before, and we kind of farm the area.
And by the way, guys, that's easy door knocking. Like that right there, I want everybody to understand right now. Door knocking is difficult when you're walking around with a phone book going, I think I have a buyer for your area. You know what I mean? Like, things are difficult when you really don't have a purpose and you know that you're full of crap. Like, that's when it's difficult, okay? But people love to know about their neighborhood. Do they not? You're not walking there just kind of like, yeah, they would love to know about their neighbors. And they don't have to ask the neighbor. They're getting to go through a third party.
And we're bringing something of value to them. So we put a folder together. We have our open house sheet that we create from listings to leads. We pulled the market report for the last month in that neighborhood and in that town. What's sold, what's under contract, what's listed. And we use the line, this house is going to change.
So we have a line for any of you that don't know. We know that within 30 days when a house comes on the market, and those of you guys are students, this is a broken record for you, you know this. But we know that when a house comes on the market in the next 30 days, what's going to happen in that neighborhood? Another house is going to come on the market. In the next 6 months, 2 to 3 more houses are going to come onto that market. So when we go around that neighborhood, are we looking for the 49 no's? Looking for the 1 yes. Because here's what happens. The line she's talking about, she's going to go up there and she's going to say, hey, I'm so-and-so, whatever. I didn't know if you know, whatever, but I have a little information. You know, your neighbor's property was just listed over at so-and-so. Would you like more information? Who's going to say no to that? Love to know about it. Perfect. By the way, I'm not sure if you're aware, but their house being listed may have changed the value of your property. Now, would you like to know how it changed? What did I just say? First off, we were talking at lunch, right? Communication 101. It's not what you say, it's what people... Did she say the value changed? What did she say? May have changed. What did they hear? My value went up. Right? Did you say value went up? I said may have changed. Everything that happens in the market changes what happens in the market. I don't know if it went up or down, but I can't know without actually finding out. What is she trying to do? Create an opportunity. What's her odds of doing that when she's not out there doing what she's doing? Somebody do the math for me. 0. So you, talking to your coach, how did you come to this, you know, hey, but I got a new business. Well, you're supposed to make calls. What is that? I want to know what that sounds like to where you started having knocking on doors. I want real world. Like,
because she said the next phone call we have, I want to know that you spoke to 20 people a day, you know, and we're in front of people. You know, how are you going to get business if you're not out talking to people?
by the way, if I know Donna, she probably told you, she probably reminded you.
Get off your ass,
Yeah.
get out there.
And by the way, this, and by the way, if I know Donna, Donna probably said to her, you know, just for the record, I'm not having you chase my goal. This was your goal. Right?
That is what she said.
Like I said, if I know Donna.
She asked us at the beginning, what is your goal?
Yep.
And she says, you're not going to meet your goals by not picking up the phone.
Yep. And you agreed. You were like, okay, absolutely. I mean, it was one of those in the beginnings. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to whatever. And then when it came time that she wanted to start making excuses, Donna says to her, you know, just so you know, I'm not asking you to complete my goals. Like, this is what you said you wanted. This is why you said you wanted this. Was that not real? Do you no longer care about the security of your children? Do you, right? I mean, come on, guys. When you get motivated and you say, here's my why, I need this, I want to dominate my kids when I'm in high school. The moment I stop staying in shape, I want all of you to look at me and go, so you don't care about dominating your kids anymore? Just don't do it in front of someone else who doesn't have context. Okay? Question, go ahead.
If you did not have the time to lead generate because you had appointments to make, but then you decided I'm going to go to the door knock, how did you leverage, what did you leverage?
She didn't say she didn't have the time to do
I
it.
didn't have the time. I didn't like picking up the
I thought
phone.
you said that you had,
Yeah, I
She was more of a, she had an issue with the phone, which is a whole other thing on its own we can deal with another time. But rather than just let her get away with that, her coach said, you know what, let's take some steps. So instead of just saying, all right, baby, let's just try something else, she said, okay, well, let's talk about what you can do. Because what did I say this morning? Little step, little step, little step. So she found the next step that was going to bring her further away from the way she was doing business at the moment, right? And got her to start going doing that. And I promise you at some point she's going to start pulling her out of that comfort and going, hey, you see how easy that was? You see the result you got? Imagine what you're missing by the thing that you're not doing I asked you to do. By the way, you still want security for your family? Do you still want, you see what I'm saying? So it wasn't that she didn't have time. It was that she was like, oh, I can't do that, I can't. They found a solution for that. Okay.
I just find it easier speaking face-to-face with someone than on a phone because it makes it real. And I just like that communication.
Face-to-face is always going to be more real. In every case, it's not possible. But you always want to get face-to-face. That's your goal with everything that you do, is that face-to-face meeting. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a full thing on closing leads. And I'm going to go over the process by which you go, and every part of that is about how do I get them in person. Because when they see you, you're humanized. So you're no longer an internet troll or whatever. Question, go ahead. So she said, you made a change and you started using listings to leads, and that's a big question, that's a great question, because you notice she also uses our marketing. So people are always like, well, you use listings to leads and your marketing? What do you use listings to leads for?
We use them for the flyers. They create open house flyers, they create regular brochures that we include at our listings.
And he's presenting tomorrow, by the way, he's going to show it all in detail.
And we also you know, we do our own Facebook ads for open houses, and if we have a property that we're having a tough time selling, we'll put a property up there using listings to leads, but our other marketing comes from Jared's
And
marketing.
I love that she made that point, because a lot of times people think it's either or. I think you should be doing
We use
both.
both.
Because one is, we're gonna go and do everything for you, we're gonna create your leads and whatever, but you still need the tool with listings to leads. That'll do the flyers like you talked about, but tomorrow you're gonna learn about the landing pages they do, so that on the fly, you can create things as you want to. You can get creative with the snowman thing or the snow angel thing, and you have the ability to do that, okay? We go to Dunkin' Donuts all the time, right? I still own a coffee maker. Occasionally, I need to do it myself. So we're going to talk a lot more about that tomorrow when he's doing listings to leads, and he's going to show you everything and how it works and the whole deal. Go ahead.
So this is for
Bridget?
So you said that after that incident with your friend, you set the expectation with the clients up front, and they leave you with the buyers. Can you give me an example of what you said?
Okay, so her question was, when I had the incident with my friend who decided basically I thought I was better than her, and, because I couldn't show her, so she decided not to work with me, what have I done moving forward? Is that
To set the expectation.
To set the expectation.
You said to your client that they will be dealing with you as your
If it's a buyer, which is usually when it would be the case, that's when I go in, my spiel, if you will, is because of the way that the market is and how quickly things are going under contract with the multiple offers, I don't want to be the reason you don't get in to see a house. And if you call me and say, look, this house just came on the market, because in Houston, the apps for our MLS, which is HAR, it's immediate notification for our clients, which is great, but it also creates a frenzy for the realtors because they're immediately texting me and saying, hey, this house just came on the market, I love it, it's the one, I can be there in 20 minutes, can you get there? And I'm an hour away walking into a listing appointment thinking, oh my God. So that's pretty much what I say is, look, I don't want to be the reason you don't get in to see a house. So in order to give you the best service possible, I have a team and partners. I don't like using personally the word assistants. I like to say partner because I feel like that gives that other person more credibility.
We're going to talk, by the way, guys, we're going to be talking words tomorrow, the power of words, the difference between saying this word or that word, all the difference in the world.
Because when I used to say assistant, I used to say buyer's agent, and the way that my clients or even the lenders or the title company or whoever it may be that I was speaking to, they would treat them entirely different. So I purposely very aware of how I use the words, and I'll say I've got a team in place. My partner will be able to meet you there. We want to make sure we get in there so we can give you the best opportunity to get an offer in for you if this is the dream home for you.
You're selling as an advantage for them.
Absolutely.
Not a
It's
disadvantage.
always about them.
Yeah.
It's never about me. It's not, and I'll tell them, look, if I'm on an appointment, I don't want to be the reason you miss something, but I make it all about why it's better for them because it's true, and it is true.
Anybody who's serious about buying, by the way, that line right there is yeah, you're right. I don't want to not get into a place. I don't want to. Anybody who has a real issue with that, I question how serious they are.
Absolutely.
You know, it's kind of like I used to say, like we give away too much of our time. 40% of the workforce doesn't work traditional hours, and yet realtors always go right to nights and weekends when it comes to appointments and buyer showings and all this other kind of stuff. And I always used to teach people, look, everybody has a lunch break, okay? And throw that out first, because if somebody's going to buy the largest asset they're ever going to purchase in their life, and they're not willing to give up a lunch to go see it, I question how serious they are.
Yeah.
I want to get you in right away. This is a popular property, so are you available today at lunch? I'll meet you at 12:15 to whatever. Somebody comes back and goes, I don't know. I kind of had a thing set up, and today's Tuesday, and it's Taco Tuesday at my job, and I don't really want to miss that. I don't want to miss that. I question whether I should be giving them nights and weekends. You see what I'm saying? Like it's all about giving the expectation.
Very rarely will work nights and weekends. I personally try to work Monday through Thursday. And that was one of my things when I first met Jared. It wasn't necessarily, I was doing great financially, honestly. The reason I was quitting was I hated working 20 hours a day. My husband hated me. It was, why are you always on your phone? It was literally, I had 4 hours of sleep, and it was, my phone would ring, and I'm like, what the heck? Who is this person? Like, I was constantly mad.
What about that, by the way, inside of you makes you, I said before, addiction to other people's approval. Why were you so, I can't miss, I'm gonna, at the expense of my husband hating me,
Yeah.
I'm still gonna pick up these calls. I'm still gonna, why was it that strong?
It was this fear, and it really was a fear that if I didn't, they would go to someone else. I would lose the business, and then, you know, well, that, and I was constantly, literally equating it to a dollar amount. Okay, well, if they were to buy a $300,000 home, that's $9,000 I'm losing, give or take. And why would I just not answer the phone? Why? And
it's always this one time.
yeah, it always.
Isn't it? Like, I mean, I know you guys, it's always this one time. You know, it's always, oh my God, okay, I just this one time, because this is worth $9 grand. But you know what, from now on, things are about to change.
Right.
But for this one right now, this is what I'm gonna do. And then tomorrow comes, and you go, what are the odds? 2 days in a row. But you know what, this one right now is 12 grand. So, but isn't that how you guys think? Like, isn't that the, well, you don't know when the next one's gonna come around, so let me just get this one right here, and let me just.
What really helped, and I learned again, it all goes back to expectation, is because if they would leave me a voicemail at say 7:30 on Friday at night, I felt almost guilty if I didn't call them back because I'm thinking, oh, they're going to be sitting there thinking I'm going to call them back because I've set that expectation because, oh, call me anytime and I'll help you.
We just had to stop at lunch.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I was horrible with it. And, you know, oh, nights, weekends, holidays, I don't care, I'm there for you. No, don't do that. Because they will. And what I started saying on my voicemail is, you know, I will call you back, you know, tomorrow during normal business hours. I don't say time sometimes. People disagree with me on that within my office, but for me, it gives me a comfort of, okay, I can breathe a little. I've set their expectations when they get the voicemail. No, I'm sorry, it's Friday at 7:30. I'm probably drinking, so probably going to call him back anyway.
Go ahead, go,
I just wanted to
Kevin.
add something to that about.
She will also probably be drinking. Is that what you want to say? She's.
Last Christmas, I was cooking for Christmas Day. I had 15 people at my house, and one of my houses was underwater. I got a call from an agent Christmas Day. So I left my family Christmas Day to the house with my parents.
Where was the homeowner, by the way?
It was a new construction.
Oh, I was like, where's
And
the
of course, I tried calling the contractor, and he wasn't taking calls on Christmas Day.
Isn't that crazy? She cared more than the guy who
I
made hundreds of
cared more.
thousands.
After that, I swore I would never do that again because he didn't care.
There
I
you go.
gave him the listing back, and I put on my cell phone, if this call is being made after 7 p.m., it will be returned tomorrow at 9 a.m. during business hours. Because it took away from my family. I celebrate Christmas, and I'm at this house cleaning up somebody else's mess when they didn't care, and it was like an aha moment for me.
Do you know that chemically you actually, and I've said this at other conferences, but it just popped into my head. Do you know that chemically your body actually works harder when you're not working than when you are, when you're thinking about if something could come up? Did you know that? Like the difference between me being in the office and actually taking care of work right now, and my body is set for that, it's ready for that, and I'm doing it, and it's whatever. Me going home and now waiting, is the phone gonna ring? Did I get emails? Did I get any whatever? Your body actually gets more stressed out and uses more energy in the anticipation of what might be coming. And you do this all day, every day, all day, every day. And then you fake like you're just so woohoo for your clients or whatever. And it just wears you out. And then, like I say all the time too, you come home and who sees the worst of you? Right? You walk in the door and you're like, I can finally be a witch. Like, oh God. Like, you know? And then you question why you don't get along with your spouse, why your kids are such bastards, like why whatever. Because you're walking in the door and finally going, oh, I can act like what I feel like. And they should just understand because I've been dealing with these people and I made a transaction today and they don't understand. It's not worth it, right?
The Do Not Disturb feature, I don't know, I know it's on iPhones, is fabulous for me because it's almost like an addiction for me where I want to look at my email. If I hear it ding, even if it's 9 o'clock on Saturday at night, I want to look at it. It's this weird obsession. I will literally, I schedule my email.
Because you associate production with it. An email is something is like money. It's like this is potential business. Yeah, that's why.
Absolutely. I put Do Not Disturb on my phone. It doesn't go off. You can set VIP people, so if my family or my mom calls, something's wrong, they'll get through. But if you're calling me at 9 o'clock, my phone won't ring.
I love that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I love that. So basically, you're protecting yourself from yourself.
Yes.
And I want everybody to understand that. I'm not saying that like I'm not putting down Bridget. I'm saying like that's what you're doing. You know yourself. It's no different than when Rachel told me don't come down. She's like protecting you from you. Just don't worry about it.
Just have to turn the
We
phone
got
off.
it. What's that?
Turn the phone off.
Yeah, just it's just not worth it. You know what you're gonna do. An alcoholic doesn't walk around at a bar, right? What's that? They do.
Jared,
Yes.
does she have someone else? Do you have someone else taking your calls on the weekends, or do you just leave them lingering?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about that. She said, do you have somebody else who's taking calls on the weekends, or what do you do?
I do. My buyer's agent in the.
By the way, that can be VoIP too, by the way. That's another VoIP answer. But
Okay, they alternate weekends. And I used to have it where I was doing one weekend a month, and then I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
because you realized that that was just you holding on to your
Yeah,
addiction.
I
Like
was
you were just like, all right, go on. I don't need to do
very
this.
much, yeah, and I felt this weird, going through assistants and buyer's agents it was difficult for me because I wasn't used to, I was in Mark's class earlier, I wasn't used to managing people, and that was a huge learning curve, and I felt bad almost by telling them they had to work weekends and I wasn't going to, and then I realized, well, I'm the one giving them business, so no, I don't feel bad, that you have a job, and that's what it entails. If you don't want to do that, then, you know, I understand that, I'll find someone else, and say it like that.
But you set the expectation up front. This is what the job
This
is.
is what it is.
And there's a season in people's life where that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Guys, she did it.
Yep.
By the way, there's almost nothing people do in my office that I haven't done.
Well, I did it for 7 years.
You know, like...
7 years, I worked every single day for 7 years, basically. That's why I hated real estate. After 7 years, I was like, this sucks. Like, I mean, I was exhausted. I was 33, and like I said, I had enough production, and money was fine. I hated working 20 hours a day for 7 years, every single day.
Never a break.
No.
It's not worth it.
Even on vacation, on my honeymoon,
Okay.
kid you not, in Hawaii at 5 o'clock a.m. Hawaiian time, I'm on the balcony negotiating a deal because some NFL player in Houston couldn't pay his taxes when my buyer was closing. It was like some $30,000 extra they had to come up with. And I'm like, on my honeymoon, literally.
But it was just going to be that one time.
But just
That's
that
just
one
going to go
time.
back to her.
But it was 1.7 million, so I had to take it. It was always that but this.
Guys, haven't you ever noticed the things that you think that you're so important and that you can take care of and only
Yes.
whatever? When you actually don't get back and then like
They
you know,
figure
like
it
somehow
out.
it didn't get through to you, and then later in the day you get the message, you're like, oh my God, what happened? And you call and they're like, oh, don't worry, I took care of it.
Yes.
You're like, wait a second, I thought you needed me. I
I
thought.
purposely wait now too, because they'll blow my still.
They'll
They'll
figure
blow
it
my phone up. Call me.
But the thing is though, here's the other point too. You are actually harming the people around you
Yes.
by not allowing them to learn how to take care of things. You're becoming an enabler for your own issue.
Now they know on the weekends, for example, if it's them, I will answer. But it better be someone is literally on fire and, you know, all hell is breaking loose.
Right.
But, you know, if they know to call me if it's that type of situation, but I'm not answering it unless it's them,
Right.
period.
Right.
So, in my voice, I can transfer it straight to them. So, that works really well.
Awesome.
My rule 2 with the phone is if your name doesn't pop up on my screen, I don't answer it. Because if I don't know who's calling me, I'll let it go to voicemail and then listen to it to see what it is.
Cool.
I take all calls if I don't know the name, because we have so much referral coming in from, you know, other states, countries, everything,
Yeah.
but whatever works for everyone, you know?
Yeah, that's what you're gonna find. Like everybody
Manage
has different.
expectation for yourself.
Yeah, you and I mean, yeah, obviously, like I said, I mean, you guys. I always say if anybody comes in contact with you guys are gonna. And I think I was saying at lunch. You guys are a perfect example. The Achayas, right here that I always hear, Achaya when you're yelling at her. Achaya. You guys are a perfect example of. I said this morning, and I said, look, we can do all this stuff. You can pay money to get up here, whatever. If you don't have skill, it just doesn't matter. Most of you in this room. One of the things that you actually can develop by being in a conference like this, I said in the finance thing, 87% of realtors fail in the first 5 years. You know what those 87% don't have in common? They don't come to stuff like this. Like the very fact that you're here means that you are not in that percentage, that you at least care enough to go, you know what, I need to learn something. I need to get better. You'll see me at conferences I'm going to do a keynote at. I'll throw a hat on and sit in a breakout. Because I just want to learn. I want to know what's going on. I want to know is somebody doing something we don't know about. I want to know. These guys are a perfect example of somebody that their personalities are such, their talent is there, whatever it is, that when they took the stuff we were trying to teach them, we knew that if we brought people to them through whichever way it was going to happen, people weren't going to leave them. Because they fall in love with them. Any of you feel like when you get in front of somebody, you win? Yes. Right? When I get an interview, I win. When I get in front of somebody, I win. Then what's the game? Get in front of more people. Are you every day doing things that's making that happen?
Right.
Or are you going to a conference like this, understanding that that's the game, and then, like Kelly said, then someone calls you tomorrow with a referral, and you're like, I got business coming in. I don't need to do that yet. The stuff we're trying to teach you today is not for desperation. It's not for when it all else fails. It's for what you're supposed to be doing every day if you want to get the most out of yourselves, right?
I was going to say, Jared, I think looking back, you know, as excited as we were, we got to our first conference, we're sitting there and all this information comes in and you're like, whoa, where do I start? Like, what do I pick first? And I don't think you can go wrong with picking anything first. Just, you know, it might be your website, it might be a more lead generation, it could be an assistant, it could be, just pick it and you just start seeing everything fall into
Do
line.
something.
Yeah, and it's like a snowball. Someone used a snowball earlier, and it just happens.
It's all analysis by paralysis. It's just the whole like paralysis by analysis. It's the whole thing where it's like, okay, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, so I guess I'll just think about it.
It was a little like overwhelming, but like once you, I mean, you're hearing words like real estate webmasters, BombBomb, and Happy Grasshopper, and all these amazing things, and you're like, what is this? And then
well, not for nothing, but I don't want to be self-promoting, but that's one of the reasons why you guys got into one-on-one.
This is why I was going to say.
What steps? What?
And the coaching is what helps us take all the systems and implement them, and then the accountability is staying on top of the systems.
And where's your business this year? And by the way, I don't know this yet, so hopefully this is good.
We're at this point right now.
Where are you compared like year over year, like
35% higher this year than we were last year at this time.
and we've only had these systems for just about a year.
So you
November will be a year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But we're implementing it.
Yeah,
That's
And the
difference.
pipeline, the whole pipeline, it's all building.
How's that feel, by the way? I want to get like real. How's that feel?
It's a commercial where they jump up in the air about a car.
Yeah.
A car. I'm jumping up about the systems
It is
and,
so true.
and what they're offering our business and our lifestyle and
What
and
if
also
you were sitting here this year? What if you were sitting here this year and that hadn't happened?
Meaning,
You didn't
None of
do
it.
it, like you didn't implement anything.
I guess I would doubt the systems, but they work.
Yeah, but I'm saying, what if you didn't do any of the systems? Well, how would you feel if you were sitting in this audience right now? Like some people are.
Okay.
You were here last year.
like
you're
an
saying,
idiot,
I didn't
like
do
I should
anything
have done
else
some
to
of this
do.
stuff, like a
What's that?
complete idiot. Like
Yeah, like-
should
I feel
have
like I should have done something.
Even if it was too much, at least do something. You put the money in here to come, the time, the energy, you got
Mhm.
babysitters, travel, some people
Whatever.
live here locally, but you still put time in. So just implement it.
Something,
Implement.
pick
Take a
something.
nugget, take something, get
Yeah.
around, talk to people, talk to movers and shakers. I knew when I was at the advance last year and I saw the people on the stage, I said, they're not doing anything different than I do. They put their hands on one leg at a time, and they're not any smart. They're just implementing the systems, and they're consistent.
And now
Yeah.
you're sitting up
These
here,
ladies were talking about too,
now
yes.
you're sitting there going,
Amazing.
oh, I'm not any better than them, but now you're sitting on
Exactly.
A year
stage.
ago, I was sitting like
Right
there
there.
in that row, and I said, he's not doing anything different than I could do.
Right.
You
The
know?
only difference is
Consistency.
Just doing it.
Consistency.
doing it, right? I always go
Yeah.
back to the workout.
Yeah. And we love our coach.
Love our
We love
coach. The one-on-one is so
It's
good.
amazing. One-on-one is amazing, keeps us accountable, but not only are we accountable to him, he's accountable to us.
Yes.
It's true.
And it's an amazing relationship. And I just know, I tell my partner all the time, I said, I would not be where I am today if we were not following these systems.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The systems are going to be bigger than us too, because we're going to be able to step away and just continue to see the business grow in all
Yes.
facets.
And that's the idea, right?
That's the idea.
Many of you, when you go on vacation, you freak out because nothing's going to happen. Right?
Or something more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, like you freak out because it's like, oh
It's
my
true.
God, I can't do that. Like, who's going to do this? Who's going to whatever? Like, who's... It's not the business.
Agreed.
So I want to go through with everybody here. You were going to say something?
I was just going to say, I was just looking earlier at listing the leads and the lead generation. So from when we were here last year to the beginning of December, we received 750 leads coming in off of the landing pages.
Any of you make more money if you had 750 additional leads coming in?
I mean, and I was,
prior to that event, you never would have even known about it.
right, exactly. And I have to say, I was a little like, I don't know about this. I mean, but hey, let's give it a shot.
Right.
And the first day we got like 40. And it was like, oh my God. It was just crazy.
The light bulb goes on.
So,
You go,
yeah.
holy crap, like this is what people are doing?
Sorry?
I said the light bulb goes on.
Exactly, yep.
This is what people are doing?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so here's what I want to do. Is this thing on right now?
All right, rolling out.
All right. Here's what I want to do. Go across here, and I want you guys to say what is the one piece of advice or the one thing that you want everyone listening now to do.
Just one thing to know about them.
Do you use something called ACT?
Yeah, my friends with ACT out there. Thank you. I did that.
He sells phone books on the
It
side.
works. But you know, it works, and that's what matters. You know, whether it's an older system or a newer system.
But it works for you. We're joking around, but it works for you, right?
Yes, it
Everybody always
works.
asks me, what's the best piece of income? What's the best CRM? What's the best? The one you're using, if you're using it. If you're not using it, I'm going to give you a whole other set of recommendations. But he's using ACT, which I didn't even know still existed. But he's using ACT, and he's liking it. Go for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other part is just follow up. You know, just, you know, you might get a lead in, but if you don't do anything with it, it's gone.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, I think just start with your gut. You're here for a reason. You've obviously maybe come back to the second time. You know kind of what you need to do next, whether it's an assistant or the systems. I think just let it go and do it, and you'll see that it's so worth it. It is so worth it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think Jared did this today and talked about knowing your why. And for me, I had a lot of confusion in my own mind for the longest time saying, okay, I want to be the database king, the CRM guy, and I also want to be the massive great photographer, and I also need to be the guru of Facebook, and I need to be the guru of this. And I finally realized with all the noise that was in my head, I don't have to be any of that. I just need to know why I want to do it, and I'll find the people who know how. And the systems know how to make you successful.
That's a big point right there. Hope you guys just got
You
that.
plug your why into the systems, and the how of all the things that are done are just going to fall into place.
But you can't play every role.
And you can't play every role, and you don't need to.
Right.
You don't need to.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Yes.
Where they all thought he was this big whatever, and yet he was doing everything
Just
behind the
the
curtain.
levers.
Big Wizard of Oz fans, I guess.
Maybe there's one in here.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right? They're behind the curtain. They all thought he was this great god, and he's back there like doing this thing and doing this thing, and smoke coming out and whatever. That's what most of us are doing, right? And there's a time and a place for that, right? But at some point, the Wizard of Oz should have become a little bit more of an entrepreneur. And realized, you know, yeah.
I would say know your strengths. For me, being out in front of people is much better for me, and I found a way to make that work. Also, I'm not very tech savvy, so I did sign up for the marketing program. They do everything for me. I was spending so much time, energy, and effort trying to figure it out on my own, and I just couldn't do it. So I paid somebody to do it, and you may not want to pay for it, but in the long run, it pays you over and over again. So find what works for you and stick with it.
Awesome.
I would probably say just ask questions and be honest with yourself. I know for me, when I was taking real estate, I didn't know how to get assistance. I didn't know how were they paid and what works for some people and what works for others and what doesn't work. And there's, I think, within our industry this fear almost that we all want to kind of keep everything secret and quiet. And maybe that's your way in your own marketplace, because we certainly have those agents in our area. But I know Jared always says this, the smartest person in the room is the room.
Yeah.
So I ask questions every single day, because we're never going to ever be, in my opinion, the best we can be. We should continually ask questions. We're all here, we're all in the Facebook group. If you're not in there, get in there, message us, friend us.
By the way, I just want to make that very, like, the Facebook group is something where it's free, it's whatever. There's so much value that comes from there, from people from all over North America, that you're asking a question and they're answering, and then 10 other people chime in, and then just amazing what comes from that when you're vulnerable enough to say, how do I do this?
For help, or, and it's genuine. There's no, everybody here, it's almost like in a weird way a family, and we all want everybody to succeed.
Right.
And it's a genuine level of family.
Right. We want everybody to do well.
Yeah.
Like if somebody was acting wrong in there, they'd be out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just, I haven't seen that happen. You know, I don't moderate it much anymore, but I mean, has that happened?
It's definitely an encouraging group.
Yeah.
There's nothing negative in there. It's
And
everyone's
honest.
looking to help.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of top producing people aren't willing to give you their stuff, aren't willing to tell you what's going on, aren't willing, because then you might do it, right? Does anybody have any top producers like that in their area? And so you've got to leverage, especially from like a nationwide or from a North American standpoint or whatever it may be, when you're at something like this, you've got to talk to these people. You know, while you're at the networking thing or the cocktail hour or whatever it is, you got to get on a thing like Facebook that is amazing from the perspective that it brings these people from all over into one place. You know, I tell people all the time, I used this example last year, that there are different perspectives, right? And so when I have someone come up and talk to me and say, well, that doesn't work, and I'm thinking to myself, like, there's two different perspectives. Like, there's a turtle perspective, and then there's a giraffe perspective. And if a turtle and a giraffe stand in the exact same place, the giraffe, would you agree, sees something completely different than the turtle? Would you agree? And so the turtle is going to give its perspective based on what it sees. It's not lying, it just doesn't see that far around. But the giraffe is going to be sitting in the exact same place going, nope, up there is that, and over there is that. Same place, different perspective. I'm a giraffe. I'm connected with thousands of real estate people all over North America, and I see what's working in Winnipeg, and I see what's working in Washington State, and what's working in New York, and what's working in Kansas, and what's working in all of these places. And as much as you want to get out of it, whether it's through social, whether it's through being here, whatever it may be, take advantage of that perspective. Because this whole, talk about defeat the voice, nonsense that, well, that works there, but it won't work here. Oh my God, if I hear that one more time. People are people, but you don't understand my marketplace. Yeah, I do. I've been all over. Works everywhere. We have 3 students right in your town doing exactly what I'm telling you. The only difference is you want to make an excuse while they want to make a way. That's it. So at some point, like I said at the beginning of today, you have to make a decision what kind of a player you're going to be. A chess player is going to get paid a certain amount, according to the way that they play. A chess player is a completely different thing. It's a little more intricate. It takes a little more learning. It's a little more difficult. But once you learn it, guys, I don't have to think about it. I know what a knight does. I know how a rook moves. I don't have to think about it. When I first started, I had to constantly, how's this work? Does it go this way? No, it doesn't go that way. I had to screw up. Any of you guys have any screw-ups? Everything was perfect all along in your business, right? You have to screw up in order to see where you want to go. But take advantage of that giraffe mentality that sees what's happening and what's working and what you can do in your marketplace. Because if you're not seeing it in your marketplace right now, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. It means that you have an opportunity for domination because no one else is doing it, which is fabulous. Last thing, and then we gotta go.
Someone once said to me, you can have you can have results or excuses, but you can't have both.
Right. So true. Results are, I love that. Guys, if we could, let's give these guys a hand. I'm going to say a couple more things. Thank you so much, guys. I wanted to see how he'd react, like if he was going to come in for it. Oh, it's all good. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. Was that helpful for you, hearing from them?